Over a 5-year journey around the world, Ye Changqing first believed he could be like other cool novel protagonist systems with a plug-in, but even the most common immortal cultivator cannot be. Living close to a sect in a small town was his only option, so he started a business. His small store eventually turned into the holy land of all the righteous individuals, and the dog he raised up turned out to be the feared demon king. From that moment on, everyone acknowledged Ye Changqing as a supreme master. In this world, mortals, demons, devils, coexist together in this world of cultivation. Infinite possibilities of achievements. You can cultivate to become a fairy godmother. You can cultivate to become a bullfrog housewife. You can choose your own species for evolution. You can also choose atavism. And the name of this town is Shaoqi Town. And an old man was telling the inner things to the citizens. Then we see the main character of this story who is eating watermelon in a relaxed mode. And his name is Ye Changqing, and he says the threshold for cultivation is so low. I'm a character that is considered as an unlucky loser regardless of which cultivation novel you put me in. It all started 5 years ago. Ye Changqing has come to the world of cultivation by time traveling, but instead of being sad, he is very excited, because he has some fantasies. And he says, does this mean I can have a system to support me, a golden finger, blessed by heavens, able to freely trample on the laws of the mortal world, and can shamelessly have 7 or 8 companions? Then Ye Changqing calls the system, but there is no reply from the system due to which awkwardness spreads. And Ye Changqing says many words like, golden finger, magical weapon, master, boss. But there is no reply from the other side, due to which he gets disappointed and starts crying on his knees. And he says, is anyone there? Someone, some time later. Ye Changqing reaches a town tired and exhausted after going through bad conditions. Then he sees an old man and he has a crystal ball with him to test the spiritual root. And the old man says, spiritual roots test, 1 coin per test. Ye Changqing sees a hope and he also wants to give the test, and so he puts his hand on the crystal ball. And as soon as he puts his hand, the crystal ball starts shining, seeing which the old man gets surprised. And he cannot believe that it is possible? And as soon as these words of the old man reach Ye Changqing's ears, his eyes start shining, he sees a hope. And he asks the old man, quick, tell me, am I a genius blessed by heaven, with an exceptional physical state? But Ye Changqing's happiness does not last long. The old man tells him, how can someone not have a spiritual root? And the core behind Ye Changqing says, I've never seen anyone without a spiritual root. No spiritual roots? Then Ye Changqing continues his story and he tells, because I don't have spiritual roots, no sect is willing to accept me as a disciple. Please accept me. I must become stronger. For the sake of living, I had to find a small town to get by. Shaoqi Town. Opened a general store at the roadside to earn a living. Also using the knowledge from having lived 2 lives to teach and help supplement the household income. Life is quite relaxed. I wonder if it's because of the relaxed, non-competitive lifestyle that has brought me physical and mental joy. Recently, my artistic skill has been improving rapidly. Not just my drawing skill, but my calligraphy, chess skill, and my guqin skills have been skyrocketing. As the bright moon shines over the sea, you shared this moment with me from a distance for lovers. Lonely nights are the worst. I think of no one but you at night. I blow out the candlestick to enjoy the moon, and put on my robe as the dew is thick. Unable to hold and send you the moonlight, I return to sleep to meet you in my dreams. Poem by Zhang Jiuling. Musing on the Moon. Produced in the year of Tiger. Chess. Guqin. Could it be that this is my golden finger? This is bullshit. This is a world of cultivation that is overrun by the demons and devils. What's the use of having artistic skills? Then a small child says Ye is dreaming again. Listening to the boy, Ye Changqing comes back to reality and calms himself down. Then he starts teaching the children and he says, the content of our class today is postpartum care for female pigs. But the children are not concentrating on studies, they are engrossed in their own things, due to which Ye Changqing gets angry and he shouts at the children and says, "Hey, hey, hey, we're having a class now." But kids are carefree and they reply to Ye Changqing, "What's the point of class? The immortal being is here to take disciples. My mother asked to learn cultivation." Yes, my dad said the same thing. Studying can't save the mortals. In this vast universe, the ultimate pursuit is cultivation. It also comes with an official position in the bureaucracy. Sir, you won't be able to understand it because you don't have a spiritual root. Mr. Yi, are you thinking of trying cultivation again? The surprising words of the kids hit Ye Changqing's heart, and Ye Changqing says to the kids, "How could you guys tarnish my reputation out of thin air?" But the kids say, "Don't worry, sir, we won't." Ye Changqing takes a sigh of relief and thinks, so they still know how to respect their teacher. But a naughty kid says, "We'll only make fun of you when you're present." And then a voice comes, "The immortal being is here." And as soon as the kids come to know that the immortals have come, they all become very happy. And they say goodbye to Ye Changqing and tell him, "Let's go take the sect entrance exam. We finally don't have to study anymore." And all the kids start running towards the immortals. And Ye Changqing says to the kids, "If you guys pass the exams, I'll wash my hair in a handstand position." Then we see a beautiful girl, right Tai, Xian Holy Land. And behind her there is another girl, a top disciple of the Yuan Sword sect. And her name is Xincha Jun. And the fathers of all the children greet them and say, "Greetings to all esteemed immortal beings." And Lu Wushuang says to a disciple, "Tai Xian disciple selection exam starts now." And now the exam starts. And the disciple says to the participant, "All participants queue up and come forward one by one. To pass the exam, all the children will have to touch the crystal ball." And the disciple will keep noting down the names of the children. Then first a lady comes and with her is her child, who looks a little arrogant, and his mother says, "Our name is Li Go Lisheng." The disciple looks at the children with contempt, and he says, "Does not he have a formal name?" At the same time he thinks, the children in this town are all weak and lack vitality. It seems like this trip will be a waste of time. And the child's mother says, "Yes. Yes. Our formal name is Li Chunfeng." And as soon as Lu Wushuang hears his name, she gets surprised. And she turns back and looks and goes to the child's mother and asks Lu Wushuang, "What's wrong, immortal lady? Is there something wrong with my son?" But Lu Wushuang says nothing. "I just think he has a nice name." And the child's mother says in a happy tone, "Mr. Yi is the one who gave us the name. He's the most knowledgeable person in our town." And Lu Wushuang thinks, "I didn't expect this town to have a person of character. Perhaps he is also a cultivator." Then the disciple tells the children, "Place your hand on the spirit-searching stone." And the child slowly moves his hand towards the crystal ball and touches it. But as the child touches it, a bright golden color light comes out of the crystal ball, seeing which everyone gets surprised. And Lu Wushuang asks the disciple, "What is happening?" And the disciple, getting a little nervous, says, "Sister, we got a gold from a single pull. It's a true gold attribute, a top-grade spiritual root." But the child is carefree and he has put his finger on his nose. He is not tense about anything. And Xinchang Jun, she is a little surprised and she thinks, gold attributes are extremely rare. People with a middle-grade attribute are already considered geniuses, while this top-graded gold attribute is rarely seen in the world. Lu Wushuang is happy and she says, "This is a good omen. Speed up the test." Then now all the children tell their names, and the names of all the children are very different. And the disciple is noting all these things and he is very surprised, and he says, "Oh my God! Why do all these names have such strong fortune?" And Lu Wushuang is surprised and she asks the children, "Who named you all?" So in reply to this, one child says, "Mr. Yi gave us the name." Then we see Ye Changqing looking from a distance at a very bright light, and he thinks, "Isn't this the beam of light that only top-tier spiritual roots have?" Ye Changqing remembers what he said earlier, "Your son won't be able to cultivate, I said so." And now Ye Changqing thinks, "So I'm the clown. Now the exams are over." Lu Wushuang and Xinchang Jun are roaming in the town. Xinchang Jun is happy and has a candy in her hand which she is enjoying. And she goes on to say, "This candied haw is delicious. No wonder this place can nurture so many geniuses." And Lu Wushuang says, I've never been here before, but look at how the spiritual energy flows around here. This place might really be a treasure land. And Ye Changqing says, ah, sister, look at this wooden hairpin. It's so refined, so pretty. And then Ye Changqing's attention goes towards a shop, and Lu Wushuang thinks, well, she really is just a child. And then Lu Wushuang's attention goes towards her name written outside the shop, which she is looking at carefully. But then she feels something dangerous, and she finds herself in a different world. And there is a huge sword in front of her, and the name written on that sword is Changqing General Store. And Ye Changqing is trying to wake up Lu Wushuang, and Lu Wushuang regains consciousness. Then Ye Changqing asks her, sister, what's wrong? And Lu Wushuang says, huh? But master said you had just passed the 5th level. Then Ye Changqing says, he said it would take at least 70 years for you to break through the 6th level. And Lu Wushuang thinks, all I did was look at the words on the plaque, and my cultivation skill immediately improved rapidly. The person who carved the plaque must be a sword master. Then she holds Ye Changqing's hand and starts taking her inside the store, due to which Ye Changqing gets a little surprised, and she does not understand anything. But Lu Wushuang does not pay much attention and goes inside the store. Then they see Ye Changqing, and Ye Changqing is happy to see the new customer. And as soon as Lu Wushuang sees Ye Changqing, she feels something different, and she thinks, he looks otherworldly, he has the appearance of a revered cultivator figure. But there's no sign of cultivation on him, it seems that he's just a mortal. Ye Changqing is happy inside and thinks, elegant attire, exquisite makeup. She must be a cultivator from the holy land of Taixien. They probably won't care too much about the price. I'm about to get rich. Then Ye Changqing tells both of them, feel free to look around, the products in my shops are of good quality and reasonably priced, with no deception to the young and old. And then Lu Wushuang's attention goes towards a painting which she is looking at carefully, and then a dangerous aura comes out from the painting, sensing which Lu Wushuang takes out the sword, and she thinks, the energy this painting is releasing is too strong, it's not something I can block off. Is this the legendary sword of the gods? The sword's intent. It's rushing into my 7 meridians and 8 veins, and into every spiritual acupoint, I think. I'm going to. And Lu Wushuang makes a breakthrough, Golden Sword Sutra, the 7th stage. Then Lu Wushuang holds Ye Changqing's hands and says to him, excuse me, who is the artist of this painting, and who is the person in this painting? Seeing Lu Wushuang's determination, Ye Changqing thinks, seems like this lady really wants to buy it, she's even asking for the artist. I'll be able to sell this self-portrait for a good price today. And Ye Changqing says, it is kinda embarrassing, but the artist and the person in this painting is me, Ye Changqing. This is just a self-portrait. I was just practicing, it's just crude work. Lu Wushuang's eyes start shining and she thinks, self-portrait? Practicing? Crude? The intent of the sword is in this art, the fire essence. This is not something an average cultivator can achieve. And Ye Changqing says, sorry for making a fool of myself in front of you two ladies. And Ye Changqing thinks, what's the matter, who hasn't gone through an edgy phase? Lu Wushuang gets shocked on hearing Ye Changqing's words. Ye Changqing is looking at the things around her, and she is searching for something for herself, and she says, it is quite shallow, the hairstyle and the outfit, it's unbearable to look at. And Lu Wushuang says to Ye Changqing, sister, your cultivation is still low, you don't understand the true meaning behind this painting, so don't speak carelessly. But Lu Wushuang gets a little confused. Then Lu Wushuang is looking at Ye Changqing with hopeful eyes, and she says, do I really have bad taste? And she thinks, though he is young and possess radiant demeanor, he lacks the quality of sharpness, however, he exudes a boundless sword intent. Hold on, lacks sharpness? I can't sense his cultivation aura. Does this mean his cultivation is higher than mine? And he's purposely hiding his aura? Otherwise, why would this store possess so much aura, and how could a simple self-portrait help me overcome my bottleneck? And thinking about all these things, Lu Wushuang bows down in front of Ye Changqing and introduces herself. I'm a disciple from Taixien Holy Land, Lu Wushuang, honored to meet my senior. Ye Changqing is surprised and he says, my lady, I'm just an ordinary mortal, I'm not worthy to be called your senior. At the same time he thinks, don't try to cozy up to me, I won't give you the chance to haggle. As soon as Lu Wuxuang hears that Ye Changqing has called himself immortal, she gets confused. And she starts looking at Ye Changqing with wide eyes, and she thinks, mortal? He called himself immortal when he possessed so much spiritual essence? I got it. This senior possesses cultivation that defies the law of nature, so he must have his own reasons for living in seclusion. If I speak carelessly and unintentionally expose the truth, I will surely offend the master. Reverent and respectful. And Ye Changqing thinks about Lu Wuxuang, this lady is being so respectful to me, she isn't trying to mooch off my store, is she? Lu Wuxuang lowers her gaze and thinks, when talking with such an extraordinary person, I have to be extremely cautious. Then Lu Wuxuang stands up and says, Senior, you may not know this, but I have enjoyed painting and calligraphy since I was young. I've learned a lot from your work, so you can certainly be considered as my senior. Ye Changqing starts smiling on hearing Lu Wuxuang's words. But he is very happy inside and he says, oh ho ho ho, so it turns out she truly admires my art piece, little fairies. I have no spiritual roots. But when it comes to artistic skills, you cultivators are weak as hell. Then Ye Changqing said to both of them, please have a look around. My store not only has paintings and calligraphy, I also sell many daily necessities. Xin Changjun looks at many things, and she asks Ye Changqing, Sir, why did you plant wilted branches in the vase? Ye Changqing says, this is Zen bonsai. Xin Changjun asks, Sir, why are these fruits sticky and dry? Ye Changqing says, these are homemade candied fruits. Then Xin Changjun's attention goes towards a statue and she gets confused and asks Ye Changqing, Sir, why does this girl have no arms, and why is she not wearing any clothes? So Ye Changqing tells her, because she's the prettiest woman in the universe. And as Lu Wuxuang looks at the statue, her eyes widen, and she thinks, at first glance, this statue may seem obscene and damaged, but it seems to possess an inexpressible beauty. The loss of its arms means that no restoration could achieve true perfection. This is the insight of a true master. Lu Wuxuang and Xin Chajun are looking at many things, and Lu Wuxuang tells Xin Chajun, these are not daily necessities. These are all divine items. Now Ye Changqing is losing his patience and getting angry with both of them, and he thinks, they've asked so many questions, are they going to buy it or not? Then Xin Changjun likes a hairpin and she asks Ye Changqing, Sir, how much for these 2 wooden hairpin? Then Ye Changqing makes a sign to both of them with his hand, seeing which both are surprised. And Ye Changqing thinks, it doesn't matter if it's 3 taels of silver or 3 spirit stones, I'll still make a profit. And Ye Changqing starts smiling. Lu Wuxuang understands the price of the hairpin, and Lu Wuxuang thinks, a wise person like Senior probably comes to the mortal world just to experience life before cultivation. So if I paid him with treasures from the cultivating realm, it would be no different from humiliating him. And Ye Changqing thinks, this hand sign may seem ordinary, but it actually possesses infinite laws. Raising 3 fingers signifies 3 begets all things. The circle formed by the thumb and index finger represents completeness. It also resembles the shape of a copper coin. And Lu Wuxuang thinks, I understand now. He's telling us, God's will is complete, we should give a copper coin. Then Lu Wuxuang gives 3 copper coins to Ye Changqing and tells him, please accept this, Senior. Ye Changqing gets a big shock when he sees the copper coins. And his reaction changes completely. But he takes the copper coins. And Ye Changqing becomes very disappointed. And Lu Wuxuang thinks, lucky for my quick response, if little sister had paid him in spirit stones and upset the master, the consequence could have been disastrous. And Ye Changqing thinks, cultivators are stingier than the shopkeeper Wei who runs the restaurant. It looks like I'll have to endure hunger again. Then Lu Wuxuang points towards the painting and she says, Senior, Junior wishes to buy that art piece as well. And Ye Changqing fakes a smile. And his attention goes to the copper coin, and he thinks, my painting is so refined, yet she only paid 3 copper coins for it, and she dares to say she enjoys painting and calligraphy, clearly, she knows nothing about it. But still Ye Changqing gives the painting to Lu Wushuang, and he thinks, I need to endure it. Cultivation is all about building relationships. I hope this big shot will let me rely on it in the future. Then Lu Wushuang says, Senior, would it be possible for me to visit you in the future to ask you questions about paintings and calligraphy? And she thinks, if I could listen to the master's teaching for at least a few times, I would die without regrets. And Ye Changqing unwillingly says, as long as the lady wishes, you're welcome to visit whenever you like. And he thinks, if I have a few more visits from someone like you, I'll be sleeping on the streets soon. And both the girls come out of Ye Changqing's shop. Lu Wushuang has a smile on her face. Xin Changjun is a little surprised and she asks, Sister Lu, did something happen? Why are you so happy? So Lu Wushuang says, I've managed to reach the 7th stage of the Golden Sword Sutra just now. And Xin Changjun asks, Sister, you're not joking, right? That quick? And Lu Wushuang says, it should take at least 70 years to break through from the 5th to the 6th stage. And to achieve the 7th stage it should have taken at least another 200 years. Xin Changjun hears this and she gets surprised, and she says, could it be because of that young handsome store owner? Lu Wushuang says, yes, that senior is an unparalleled individual. From what I've seen today, that master's strength is exceptional. I'm still unsure whether it's a blessing or curse being enlightened by him. And now both of them stand on the flying sword, and get ready to leave this town. And Lu Wushuang says, let's go, we'll bring the new disciples back to the holy ground to participate in the ladder trial. I'll need to carefully think about this matter before deciding to inform my master and other elders. And Ye Changqing is now going towards his home, and as he goes he says, all the ugly disciples have gained the favor of the divines, while I sold the painting for only a few coins. Ye Changqing, your current account is basically done for. Just how long do I have to endure this? But before going home Ye Changqing feels hungry, so he goes to a restaurant. And he meets a lady, and the lady says to Ye Changqing, oh Mr. Ye, you're finally, still the same 3 dishes for dinner? And Ye Changqing says, ah fu, I didn't earn much today, 2 dishes and a pot of wine is enough. And then somebody calls out to Ye Changqing. And we see an old man, and the old man is very happy, and he says to Ye Changqing, our Wei family owes our current success to you. Ye Changqing is a little sad today, but still he says to the old man, shopkeeper Wei, you're too modest. Has Elung left? And the old man says to Ye Changqing, you don't say. All the children in our town have left. The immortals even praise the names given to our kids. Especially our Elungs. When the immortals from Tai Xian Holy Land heard our Elung's name, Wei Zhongxian, they were stunned by it. And Ye Changqing says, of course, I've meticulously calculated Wei Zhongxian's name. It carries a lot of luck. And the old man says, Mr. Yi, although you don't have any spiritual roots, you are still cultured. Ye Changqing says, I truly thank you. The old man says, ah fu. Add a drumstick for Mr. Yi. Now Ye Changqing has his food in front of him, and Ye Changqing is drooling. He is happy and he says, I exchanged this drumstick with my character. And just as Ye Changqing is about to eat the chicken leg piece, he gets a hard hit in his stomach which shocks both the lady and the old man. And they both say, holy shit, that's a huge black-tailed dog. And as soon as Ye Changqing hears about the black dog, he understands who this is. And we see that there is a black dog in front of him who is actually the Black Emperor. And he takes Ye Changqing's leg piece and puts it inside his mouth. And he becomes very happy and starts wagging his tail rapidly. Then 2 more people come there and they say, Mr. Yi, this dog, is it the one that ran away last year? Ye Changqing becomes very happy to see his dog. But his dog continues licking his cheek, so Ye Changqing kicks him and falls down and says to him, enough. Stop licking. Then we are told the story of the dog. 2 years ago, I adopted this little black dog of an unknown species, and named it Black Emperor. Black Emperor, it's time to eat. After some time, it ran away on its own, and I thought it had become prey for the beasts out there. How did it do it? So Black Emperor, is your breed a simp? And Ye Changqing takes Black Emperor inside his house, and as soon as Black Emperor looks at a painting his whole body starts trembling because of fear, and seeing this Ye Changqing gets surprised and he thinks, but why does it keep staring at this painting the moment it comes back? It's still the same, it's scared of it but it still wants to look at it, what a masochist. Then he says to Black Emperor, I'm going to go back to my room now, your kennel is still at the same spot. Don't keep staring at that painting, I'm worried that you'll end up peeing yourself out of fear. Then Ye Changqing closes the door and goes out. After his departure Black Emperor comes in his original form and he is happy, and he says, I didn't know I would still have a chance to return to my master's side back. Then I shouldn't have believed that fox's seduction and left my master. Otherwise, I wouldn't have ended up in this sorry state of a stray dog. That despicable and shameless Crimson Fire Demon King! How dare he team up with other demon kings to force me back into my original state? Wait until I start cultivating around my master, I'll make sure you all pay, blood for blood. And then the Black Emperor feels something due to which he gets scared and he thinks, could it be that the Nanling Demon King found me already? But it is Ye Changqing and Ye Changqing asks the Black Emperor, that drumstick must not have been enough for dinner, right? There's some leftover rice here, eat it before you sleep. The Black Emperor becomes happy after hearing Ye Changqing's words and his eyes become moist and he says, Master, I shouldn't have left you a year ago. I want to be your simp forever. I, Black Emperor, swore that I'll never leave my master again. We then see Ye Changqing lying in his room, and he says, I wonder what Black Emperor went through while he was out there for a year. Although it looks big and strong, it's still very timid. I still used Black Emperor's original form to create that art piece, hoping that one day he would become a demon king and I could ride its coattails. But who would have thought he's just a simp? Sigh. And the Black Emperor is enjoying his food completely and he says, with Master's protection, even if all 4 of the Nanling Demon Kings gathered together, they'd still be nobodies in front of my master. The reason I am what I am today is because the Master's Black Emperor art piece awakened my bloodline. I didn't bring any gifts back for my master. During this trip, I should take advantage of the night and go search for something. I'll give my master a surprise. Next morning, Ye Changqing wakes up from sleep and opens his eyes, and he says, last night's sleep was so uncomfortable. Why do I feel my bed become smaller? And then Ye Changqing feels something. And he touches someone else's hand. And then his attention goes towards a girl sleeping next to him, seeing whom Ye Changqing is completely surprised. And that girl is really looking very innocent and beautiful. But Ye Changqing gets a big shock and he says, who is this girl? And why is she sleeping with me on my bed? And the girl puts her leg on Ye Changqing, and Ye Changqing becomes silent, he is not able to say anything, and he thinks, am I having a wet dream again? But Ye Changqing is not dreaming and to confirm this he hits the girl's butt, and he feels very good. And he thinks, this texture feels so real. And then the girl wakes up and she says, why do I feel someone hitting my butt just now? And this girl's name is Yenbingxin, who is the 9th princess of Great Yen Kingdom. And then Yenbingxin's attention goes towards Ye Changqing, due to which awkwardness spreads. But Ye Changqing says hello to Yenbingxin while smiling. But Yenbingxin slaps Ye Changqing hard, and because of that Ye Changqing falls down from the bed. And Yenbingxin shouts, where did this strange man come from? Who are you? And why were you on my bed? Do you know who I am? Guards, capture him. But there is no guard here. And Ye Changqing feels a little pain because of Yenbingxin's slap, but he says to Yenbingxin, lady, please calm down. First of all, this is my home. Secondly, this is also my bed. Lastly, why do you have to ask me what your identity is? But Yenbingxin does not listen to Ye Changqing at all and she shouts, guards! Guards! Drag him out and execute him! And Black Emperor is listening to Yenbingxin shouting sound from outside, but his eyes are shining, and he thinks, Master sounds like he's having fun, how exciting! But something else is going on in Ye Changqing's room. Yenbingxin is beating Ye Changqing badly. And she throws Ye Changqing out of his room. Ye Changqing's condition becomes a little bad, but Black Emperor is happy because he does not know the whole thing that happened inside. And he is barking, but he is saying, "Master, do you like my present?" And Ye Changqing says, "Where did this lady come from?" Then Ye Changqing asks Black Emperor, "How could you simply let strangers in?" And the Black Emperor says, "She didn't simply enter, I brought her back." But Ye Changqing cannot understand what the Black Emperor said. And Yan Bingxin is thinking something in Ye Changqing's room, and she thinks, "That's strange. I remember sleeping at the stage station last night. How did I end up here? Did the guy from earlier do this? But he looks very weak, and he doesn't look like he has a high cultivation skill, so how did he manage to avoid the layers of protection set up at the Qishir house? I'll set up a trap to make him talk. If he really has any evil intentions, I'll ask my father to dismember his body." Then Yan Bingxin comes out of the room and calls her guard, but there are no cards of hers there. Only Ye Changqing and the Black Emperor are there. And Yan Bingxin shouts, "Hey! I'm calling you! Are you not going to come and greet me?" Then Yan Bingxin starts walking towards Ye Changqing, and she thinks, he's just a thief, yet he's still trying to be artsy and playing chess? Watch as I appended your chessboard. And then bright light starts coming out of the chessboard, and she sees a formation which Yan Bingxin is unable to see properly. And she finds herself in a chess world, feeling like she is just a pawn, and she thinks, the atmosphere of this chess game, why is it so vast? I feel like my head is going to split open. Someone save me! Then Ye Changqing looks at Yan Bingxin, and Yan Bingxin's reaction is completely strange, seeing which Ye Changqing thinks, she only slept for a night. Why did she become like this the moment she came out? She's not trying to extort me, right? And the Black Emperor thinks, Master's chess game encompass countless paths and fortunes. You're just a mere brat from the Foundation. Even the strongest from the Void Realm wouldn't be able to withstand it. Never mind, I'll help you this time because you're my gift to Master. And then the Black Emperor comes in to save Yan Bingxin by breaking the chess world, seeing which Yan Bingxin gets shocked, and she thinks, it's that black dog. He helped me break through the chess illusion. What is going on again? And the Black Emperor thinks, this is bad. Her cultivation in the Foundation is too low, and being forced to endure the pressure of the chess game has caused her body and spirit to separate. Yan Bingxin finds herself very small in front of Ye Changqing. She is just like a pawn whom Ye Changqing can destroy whenever he wants. Then Ye Changqing breaks the formation, because of which Yan Bingxin comes out of the chess world. And Ye Changqing says, nailed it. Hee. The black piece has finally shown its flaw. I've finally solved this deadlock. Yan Bingxin comes to her senses, but she bends down on her knees. Her whole body is shaking, and she thinks, I felt my soul left my body just now. It feels like I've taken a trip to the gates of hell. The dog was able to help me break through the chess game's illusion. Its cultivation has probably reached the level of a demon king. If it wasn't for that person's help, stopping the separation of body and soul, I would have died. And the Black Emperor thinks, luckily my master is wise, so you won't end up as ashes and smoke in this great secret realm chess game. And Ye Changqing asks Yan Bingxin, lady, are you alright? But Yan Bingxin does not answer, and she thinks, to be able to set up a chess game that contains such terrifying power, capable of reversing life and death with just the raise of a hand. And yet, he even tamed a demon king level black dog as a pet. Could it be that he's one of those hidden powerful figures mentioned in ancient books? Hold on. I not only hit him just now, I even kicked him out. Then Ye Changqing smiles and says, you've been staring at the chessboard for so long, perhaps you're also good at chess? How about you and I have a chess game? And Lu Wushuang gets surprised, and she slowly stands up and she thinks, my ancestors mentioned that all mighty figures have a peculiar personality. All I did was unintentionally offended him just now, and I was tortured in the chess game illusion. It's better for me to surrender while I still can. Then she greets Ye Changqing and she says, no. How could a junior show off one's skill in front of a senior? And Ye Changqing laughingly says, don't worry, I haven't had much to do for years, so all I've done is study these unusual tricks. Also he thinks, why is she also calling me senior? Do I look that old? And Yan Bingxin thinks, nothing to do? Could it be that this senior has reached the apex of cultivation and has nothing left to train? Ye Changqing asks Yan Bingxin's name and he says, what's your name? Where do you come from? And Yan Bingxin thinks, his every movement seems to exude a captivating aura. Then she says, I'm Yan Bingxin, from the Yan Kingdom. And she thinks, I still don't know this person's background, so it's better to not reveal my identity, otherwise, I might bring trouble to my father. And Ye Changqing says, judging from the lady's appearance and outfit, you look like you're a cultivator. Did you manage to become an apprentice? And Yan Bingxin says, not yet, I've only received a little advice from a few masters at Junior's home only. And Ye Changqing says, I see. And as soon as Ye Changqing hears this he gets shocked, and he thinks, a few masters? Only? Completely unrecognizable. Can an ordinary household even afford to hire a few cultivators? Those who are in drought will die of thirst, and those in flood die of drowning. Then Ye Changqing starts playing chess, and Yan Bingxin is carefully watching Ye Changqing's every move. And Ye Changqing says, Lady Yan, how should the black piece get out of trouble? And Yan Bingxin thinks, the stranded black piece. And Yan Bingxin again gets lost in the world of chess and she thinks, I sense an overwhelming force, vast like the ocean, spreading through heaven and earth. There's also the aura of the path of heaven's mysteries. This is different from the overwhelming fury from before. It feels friendlier to someone like me who's still at the foundation. I've broken through the foundation. And Ye Changqing brings Yan Bingxin back to her senses. And Yan Bingxin's cheeks have turned red. Then Ye Changqing waves his hand in front of her and he thinks, sigh, whatever? It seems like all cultivators have issues. Yan Bingxin says, Senior, if I may ask, what kind of chess game have you set up? Ye Changqing stands up and he says, it was just to entertain myself, since I had nothing else to do, 5 in a row. Yan Bingxin gets surprised on hearing Ye Changqing's words and she looks at the chessboard and she feels something. But then the Black Emperor pulls her cloth and he thinks, little girl, you better not push your luck, I will not save you if you fall into it again. But Yan Bingxin says, let me have a look one last time. Just once. Then the scene shifts to Taixien Holy Land. Inside the main peak hall. And then someone says, Shaoqi Town's name should be removed. Then we see an old man, Holy Lord of Taixien, Changxian True Being. And he says, Junior Yuanjian, calm down. Then we see a middle-aged man, Yuanjian True Being, Peak Master of Lingjian Peak. And he says, the reason disciples under Spirit Sword Peak have failed to produce promising talent for 100 years is that we keep getting assigned to these barren lands with depleted spiritual energy. We've fallen to the weakest state among the 7 peaks of Taixien. And we see another man, Jijiu True Being, Peak Master of Guangzi Peak. And he says, Senior Yuanjian, don't speak carelessly, the place is not useless. Shaoqi Town is where my sect's ancestors ascended. And another Peak Master of Chuyan Peak, Jingye True Being, he says, he's right, sometimes it's important to look for reasons within oneself. Have you practiced cultivating seriously? Did your realm increase or not? You and your direct disciple, Lu Wushuang, have been stuck at a bottleneck stage for years. How could you expect to recruit top talents? And Yuanjian says, shut up. I've isolated myself for 2.5 years just for training last time. And the Holy Lord says, Junior, we're all cultured people here, don't simply swear. But Yuanjian is getting angry. But then the Holy Lord's attention goes towards the door and he thinks, Disciples is here to report on the situation of newly recruited disciples. Then he says, we'll decide after listening to this year's recruitment situation. Then a disciple enters and he greets everyone. By the way, his name is Changming. And he says, a once-in-a-millennium encounter in Taixien Holy Land, top-tier talent with dual attributes and dual spiritual roots, the most handsome holy son of the Taixien Holy Land for 30 consecutive years, Ye Changqing. I hereby greet all respected masters. And Yuanjian says, Changming, there's no need to perform all of this to us. And the Holy Lord says, he's right, we've all seen you poop in your pants. So Changming pulls out the list and he says, Taixien Holy Land has recruited 180 people during this recruitment. 100 people with low-grade spiritual roots, they're from Changyang, Donglai, Ani. And hearing this, the second Peak Master becomes happy and he says, hey! All of them are under our Guangzi Peak sect. And another Peak Master says, congrats brother Jijilai, another great harvest. 72 people with middle-grade spiritual roots, they're from Liang, Shanseng, Yiming. And the third peak master says, sorry brother Yuanjian, Chuyun Peak has surpassed last year's results again. How come your Shaoqi town couldn't even produce a middle or lower grade spiritual root? And Yuanjian becomes very angry. His whole body is trembling because of anger, and he takes out the sword and he says, what kind of worthless heritage that ancestors ascended, I'm going to raze that place to the ground. And Changqing further says, one person with top-graded spiritual root, 7 people with supreme spiritual root, they're from Shaoqi town. And as soon as Yuanjian hears this, his ears perk up, and he says, what did you say? Supreme spiritual root? 7 people? Shaoqi town? And Changqing says, congrats Tai Xian Holy Land and Yuanjian uncle for gaining outstanding disciples. And as soon as Pick Masters hear this, they get a big shock, and they say, that's impossible, that's absolutely impossible. How did so many cultivation geniuses emerge from Shaoqi town out of nowhere? During the last 300 years, Shaoqi town only produced a middle-grade spiritual root disciple, and Yuanjian looks at both Pick Masters with sharp eyes, and says in an angry voice, what about it? Are only your sects permitted to have 3,000 disciples? Are you the only ones allowed to have top-grade spiritual roots? But both Pick Masters say, Holy Lord, did the disciple who is in charge of reviewing falsify the numbers to save face? Holy Lord, please inspect it. And then something catches Holy Lord's attention, and he says, wait a minute. And he checks the name list by himself so that the other Pick Master is also looking at it. And Yuanjian's eyes are shining, and Holy Lord says, in the past, new recruited disciples' names were always Ago Liang Mao. It's only after they ascend the mountain and learn how to read and write, then only will they change their names. But look at this, these 7 people, their names are extraordinary. Wei Zhong Xian? Oh? It embodies a certain degree of the true essence of Confucianism and Taoism. Could it be that they were enlightened by a master of Confucianism and Taoism? Li Qingzhao? Extremely transcendent and otherworldly. Yuanjian says, Wu Sangui very grand. And Holy Lord says, Li Chunfeng, this name carries a hint of Taoist style. Could it be that this master that enlightened these disciples is a supreme figure that cultivates in both Confucianism and Taoism? And now Yuanjian becomes very excited and he says, this is a blessing from the heavens, the ancestors have shown their power. And the second Pick Master says, Brother Holy Lord, you're not saying anything, do you think it's odd as well? So Holy Lord says you're right. How is it possible for Shaoqi town to nurture so many budding cultivators in just a few short years? After some thought, there's only one reason. And that is our Grand Master. Could it really be that the ancestor from our CC that ascended at Shaoqi town has returned and enlightened these kids? Yuanjian is very happy and he says laughingly, ha 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 ha, my Lingjian peak is saved. But the second Pick Master says, it's still too early to come to a conclusion, let's wait for the results of the latter trials before making a verdict. And Holy Lord says, that's right, the latter trial is used to test whether the newly recruited disciples are qualified. In the past, even if the disciples possessed a dual attribute supreme spiritual root, it still took them 7 hours to reach the summit. And Changqing says, it's 6 hours and 3/4. And the second Pick Master says to Yuanjian, Brother Yuanjian, even if your newly recruited disciples possess supreme spiritual roots, if they can't even find the edge of the trial ladder, it's still pointless. But Yuanjian starts laughing at him and says someone is jealous, hee. And just then someone is standing outside the door, and has come to give the report. Then Holy Lord and all the Pick Masters come out and we see Lu Wushuang, who has come here with all the 7 children, and she says, Disciple Lu Wushuang has brought the 7 newly recruited disciples to greet respected masters. Then Holy Lord says, Niece Wushuang, how could you interfere with the latter trial without authorization? And Lu Wushuang says, Disciple dares not. Disciple had just arrived and discovered that 7 of them had already completed the latter trial. They had been waiting here, and as soon as everyone hears this, they get a big shock. And all the children bow down in front of them and say, Disciple Li Goli. Li Chunfeng is here to greet the masters. Disciple Wu Zhongfan and Disciple Wu Sangui kowed out to the master. And seeing such determined children, tears start falling from Yuanjian's eyes, and he says, "Good child, what a good child. It is our duty to restore the glory of Lingjian Peak." Then Holy Lord calls the child and he says, "Chun Feng, come here. Let me have a look at your spiritual roots." And a very strong radiance starts coming out from the child's body, feeling which Holy Lord gets shocked, and he says, "Is this an acquired spiritual root that could only be nurtured by innate aura?" And Lu Wushuang is surprised and she asks, "Holy Lord, what do you mean by innate aura and acquired spiritual root?" So Holy Lord states, when a cultivator reaches a supreme realm, they are able to resonate with the people, thereby manifesting a spiritual sanctuary. This is known as an innate aura. As for acquired spiritual root, it is just as the name implies, nurtured by an innate aura from a young age. Only then can supreme spiritual roots take form. 1,000 years ago, the 5 Holy Lands sought to join forces to create a place with an innate aura, but no matter how many times we tried, we failed to create it. Where did the innate aura in Shaoqi Town come from? At it emerged 7 at once. And all 3 Pick Masters become happy after hearing this, and one Pick Master says, "If it really is as brother said, then the figure in Shaoqi Town must possess a terrifying level of cultivation." The second Pick Master says, "If I could have the honor of witnessing the cultivator, I would have no regrets in this life." And Yuanjian says, "He never came to Taishian Holy Land, he probably doesn't take us seriously." And Lu Wushuang thinks, "It seems I still underestimated the senior's cultivation. I never expected that the Holy Lord would fear his presence." And the Holy Lord says to Yuanjian, "Brother Yuanjian, you and niece Wushuang can take these 7 new disciples back to Lingjian Peak first." And Yuanjian laughingly says, "Will do." Then he laughingly leaves, taking the children with him. After some time, Lingjian Peak. Lu Wushuang serves tea to Yuanjian, and Yuanjian says to her, "Wushuang, I sense that the sword energy around you is abundant. I trust you had a fruitful gain during your trip to Shaoqi Town?" And Lu Wushuang says, "Yes, I wouldn't dare to deceive Master, but the disciple has managed to break through till the 7th stage of the Golden Sword Sutra." And as soon as Yuanjian hears about Lu Wushuang's breakthrough, he gets a big shock. And he is surprised that Lu Wushuang has made a breakthrough in the 7th stage, and he asks Lu Wushuang, "You only recently reached the 5th stage, how could you possibly break through 2 stages in succession?" So Lu Wushuang says, "Master, please don't get too excited just yet, hear me out first." And Yuanjian calms down, and he says, "Could it be? Have you encountered that master in Shaoqi Town?" And Lu Wushuang says, "You've guessed it right, me and little junior sister unintentionally discovered Senior Ye's place of retreat. And I managed to obtain one of Senior's original works. Disciple only managed to break through after admiring it." And Yuanjian takes the painting, and he slowly opens the painting, and the painting starts shining. And as soon as he opens the painting completely, a dangerous light starts coming out, feeling which Yuanjian gets very scared. On the other hand, Ye Changqing is sitting in the courtyard, and Yan Bingxin is standing in front of him, and she is carefully watching Ye Changqing's game play and trying to understand it. But Ye Changqing does not like the fact that Yan Bingxin is just staring at his game play, and Ye Changqing asks her, "Lady Yan, why do you keep staring at me?" And Yan Bingxin smilingly says, "Nothing, nothing. Senior, please continue with your chess game, I was just looking." And Ye Changqing thinks, "What's happening?" After Lady Yan looked at my chess game, her attitude toward me did a complete 360-degree turn. Now Ye Changqing remembers how much Yan Bingxin has changed now. "Mr. Yi, you're early. I think you're up earlier than me." Just like how one treats an elder, she now treats me with reverence and respect every day. "You don't have to do any cleaning. It's okay. I'm not tired. It's okay. I'm not tired. Lady Yan, please take a break." Strange behaviors often indicate hidden troubles. Could it be that she's also trying to buy my painting at a low price? Yan Bingxin fills water in the cup for Ye Changqing and offers it to him, and he says, "Mr. Yes, please have some water." And Ye Changqing thinks, or has she already fallen for my handsome looks? Is she thirsting for my body and can't help herself anymore? Then I shouldn't treat her badly. Then Ye Changqing smilingly says to Yan Bingxin, "Lady Yan, Follow me to buy some ingredients later? I'll make a new dish that I just invented, special braised pork. After a while they reach the market. There are a lot of people who know Ye Changqing, and everybody respects Ye Changqing here. Seeing all this, Yan Bingxin thinks, as expected of a senior, he carries himself with such elegance and grace, and he's well respected wherever he goes. Ye Changqing is bargaining with an auntie and he says, "You're selling these withered vegetables for 8 coins a pound? Are the leaves or roots made of gold?" But the auntie gets angry and she says, "You think it's expensive? I think so too. Do you want it or not?" Seeing all this, a smile comes on Yan Bingxin's face, and she says, "He's clearly a powerful master, yet he's still so humble and approachable." Then Ye Changqing goes to another shop and the shopkeeper there says, "Mr. Yi, what would you like today?" Then Ye Changqing says, 2 pounds of premium pork belly. Then the shopkeeper packs the premium pork belly and gives it to Ye Changqing and he says, "Mr. Yi, did you bring your wife along today?" And Yan Bingxin's eyes are only looking at Ye Changqing and she thinks, "Wife? Is he talking about me?" But Ye Changqing says, "You got it wrong, Lady Yan is just my customer." But the shopkeeper says, "Your neighbor Granny Wang mentioned that you both made quite a commotion a few days ago. Remember to take care of yourselves." And Ye Changqing starts looking at Yan Bingxin and finds it a little strange, but he says, "Lady Yan, the people in Shaoqi town are simple and honest, they are very straightforward with their words. I understand that Lady Yan still intends to head back to the capital, and I hope you won't take offense." And Yan Bingxin says, "Ah, it's all right, don't worry." And Ye Changqing thinks, "Please hurry back to the capital, my humble household can't afford to take you in." And Yan Bingxin is very happy inside because maybe she really wants to become Ye Changqing's wife. On the other side we see some people with some weapons in their hands, and seeing them the citizens are running away in fear. And they tell all of them to stay aside. Then we see the face of those people which looks exactly like a pig, and they have come to this town smelling something. Then one of those pigs says, "Boss, I caught a whiff of Black Emperor's scent. It's coming from that shop." And in reality all of them are demon pigs who have come here searching for the Black Emperor. And their leader says, "Very well, all we had to do is bring this despicable Black Emperor back. The Demon King will surely reward us brothers." And while searching for the Black Emperor they reach near Ye Changqing's shop and they say, "Black Emperor is injured and was forced back into his original form. This tremendous fortune has finally come to us brothers." And one of those demons tries to break Ye Changqing's door and enter inside, but the Black Emperor comes in front of him. And seeing the Black Emperor, the demon says, "Little Black, come out here right now. Little Black, come out here right now." But the Black Emperor relaxes and says, "Foolish pigs, you all have some nerve to chase me all the way here." And their leader says, "Humph, you've already been forced back into your original form. So why are you still trying to act brave? Little ones, attack him." And now the Black Emperor does not hold his power for long, and he comes in his original form to fight with those demons. And he says, "I'm in my master's place of enlightenment. Even if the Crimson Fire Temon King himself came, he would still be worthless. I didn't intend to kill any of you, but you kicked my master's tur. Has the road gotten narrow?" And from Ye Changqing's shop comes the sound of those demons screaming. They are all screaming in pain. Some demons' core is broken, some have a bone. And none of them understand what is going to happen to them now. Then the scene shifts to the hall of Tai Xian Holy Land. Holy Lord has called Changming and he says to Changming, "You're the holy son that I've devotedly nurtured, and I expect you to succeed as the next Holy Lord. What do you think of the matter that happened in Shaoqi town?" And Changming says, "To answer Holy Lord, from his master's actions, it doesn't seem like he bears any hostility toward Tai Xian Holy Land. I'd guess he's merely passing by or has chosen this place by coincidence for his retreat." And Holy Lord says, If he truly is our sect's ancestral master who has descended, Tai Xian Holy Land is bound to prosper for another 10,000 years." And then Yuanjian comes to meet Holy Lord in great happiness, and Holy Lord turns back and he asks, "Yuanjian brother? Didn't you go back with the newly recruited disciples?" And then Holy Lord feels something and he sees that Changming has made a breakthrough, and he gets surprised and he asks, You had a breakthrough? You were stagnant in this realm for 2,000 years. how did you suddenly? But Yuan Jian sees the painting to Holy Lord and he says, that's not important, look at this first. And as soon as the Holy Lord sees the painting he gets surprised and he says, this is a painting? What's so special about it? But then a dangerous aura starts coming out of the painting which spreads all over the place. And a very big shadow comes out of the painting and sword intent starts spreading everywhere. And Holy Lord is not able to understand anything that is happening now. Then he looks at thousands of swords, and seeing this Lu Wushuang says, ah. What's going on? Where is this sword intent coming from? Hold Lord. Close the scroll first. Then Holy Lord closes the painting. Then he takes a sigh of relief. And he holds the painting. And when he looks around, there are swords everywhere, and Holy Lord is surprised to see so many swords. But slowly the swords start disappearing. Then Holy Lord gets very excited and he holds Yuan Jian's shoulder and asks him, Yuan Jian brother, where did you get this painting from? The sword intent in this painting has completely transcended my understanding. Then Yuan Jian says to Lu Wushuang, I'll let Wushuang explain it to you. And Lu Wushuang goes to Holy Lord and bows in front of him and starts explaining. To answer the Holy Lord, this painting was gifted by the senior master from Shaoqi town. The senior has also agreed to let me visit for guidance whenever I need. And as soon as Changming hears this, he gets shocked and shouts and asks, Sister Lu, is what you said the truth? But Lu Wushuang says, not a single word is a lie. Sister Wang who accompanied me can testify to that. And then the Holy Lord starts laughing out loud, seeing which they are surprised and say, why is the Holy Lord laughing? But even then the Holy Lord starts laughing even louder, and he says, Tai Xian Holy Land is truly blessed. Niece Wushuang, this is just a painting yet it has helped your master break through his cultivation level, and he still agreed to let you visit for guidance whenever you need. Do you know what this means? And Lu Wushuang says, disciple is dull, please enlighten me, Holy Lord. And the Holy Lord says, it means that the person you met is likely our sect's ancestor who ascended to the upper realm. Being available for guidance whenever suggests that he won't be leaving Shaoqi town anytime soon. My Tai Xian Holy Land is going to prosper once again. Wushuang, from today onwards, you will be the saintess of Tai Xian Holy Land, standing side by side with Holy Son Ye Changqing. And hearing this Lu Wushuang is surprised but Changming is shocked. Then the scene shifts, and we see the sex town, and some people are talking. I heard that Lu Wushuang from Lingjian Peak has been appointed as the saintess? Do you think the Holy Lord's decision is a bit rash? I used to think that Ye Changqing brother would be the officially appointed successor, but it's hard to be sure of that now. Brother Li is a very vain person, he must be livid right now. And Xinchan Jun asks Lu Wushuang, sister, is the Holy Lord thinking of asking you to replace Changming brother's position? So Lu Wushuang says, although I possess natural talent for cultivation, but I only have single attribute spiritual root, I am not qualified to be appointed as the saintess. The reason why Holy Lord canonized me must be due to Senior Ye's promise to me. And Xinchan Jun asks Lu Wushuang, is that so? Does the Holy Lord also think that the handsome shopkeeper is powerful? So Lu Wushuang replies, although I am not capable yet, but if I get to visit Senior Ye for guidance a few more times, I will surely possess the qualifications and ability to be a saintess. Then we see Changming who is crying while holding a tree and he says, why did Master appoint junior sister Wushuang as saintess? And a disciple sees Changming's bad condition and she says to Changming, don't worry brother, it's probably because Lu Wushuang managed to recruit a few disciples with supreme spiritual roots from Shaoqi town. Holy Lord must have canonized her as a reward. And then Changming gets an idea and he thinks, Shaoqi town? Of course. It must be because the Wushuang sister met that descended ancestor at Shaoqi town, that's why she got the opportunity. And now Changming stands up and a new hope rises inside him. And she gets surprised to see this, she does not understand anything. Then Changming takes out his sword and quickly moves towards the city. And he becomes happy and he says, as a genius with dual attributes and dual spiritual roots, surely the ancestor will recognize my worth even more. If he's willing to provide me with a few guidance, then Sister Wushuang will no longer pose a threat to me. On the other side we see Ye Changqing and Yan Bingxin who are roaming in the town. And Ye Changqing asks Yan Bingxin, Lady Yan, you haven't told me why were you sleeping on my bed that night? But Yan Bingxin says, I'm not sure either. I was sleeping and I felt an itch on my body. When I opened my eyes, I saw Mr. Yi touching me. And on hearing all this Ye Changqing feels embarrassed and he says, Hold on. Don't speak carelessly. I didn't do anything. But Yan Bingxin holds Ye Changqing's hand and says to him, I understand. Someone like Mr. Yi has no interest in those filthy things. Our meeting must be a blessing from the heaven. And on hearing all this Ye Changqing gets confused and he thinks, Did she misunderstand something? I am very interested in those filthy things. It's such a pity that I have no cultivation, and the person in front of me is a lady from a prestigious family in the capital. I really don't dare to make a move. And then Ye Changqing's attention goes towards someone, and he sees Changming, but he doesn't know that it is Changming. And Changming is standing stunted at one place and he is saying, How? How could this happen? Why would a place like Shaoqi Town have a demon beast of this level? A quarter of an hour ago, Changming is looking at the town from above and he thinks, it's just as Master had said, the spiritual vein under Shaoqi Town has been reactivated. Then he finds Ye Changqing's shop and he says, Found it. This is where the aura is the thickest. And he reads the name of the shop, Changqing General Store. This plaque? But then he feels something, and a sword moves rapidly towards him, and goes through his body. But this was just an imagination, and Changming thinks, even though I didn't practice sword cultivation, I can feel the immense power within it. Wushuang's sister must have got her opportunity here. I am at the right place. Then he says, Holy Son Li Changming from Taishan Holy Land, wishes to see our sect's ancestors. But Changming does not get any response, which makes him feel embarrassed, and he thinks, did the master go out? Although it's inappropriate to enter ancestors' mansion so abruptly, I came here without notifying my master and I don't have much time. I have to at least gain something from this trip. And he takes his first step inside the shop and he says, I'm the Holy Son Li Changming from Taishan Holy Land. And then he is surprised to see the view inside, because the Black Emperor is in his original form and has killed a lot of pig demons. And he looks at Changming with the death eye and growls. And when Changming sees the Demon King in front of him, his eyes widen and he gets scared. And his whole body starts trembling out of fear, and he says in a scared voice, Why would a Demon King level beast appear in a small town like this? And then someone puts a hand on Changming's shoulder, and we see that it is Ye Changqing, but Changming gets very scared. But then Ye Changqing smilingly asks Changming, Young master, what's the matter? And Changming nervously points towards the shop and says that there is something terrible inside, and Ye Changqing gets a little confused on hearing this and he asks, Is there something in my shop? And as soon as Changming comes to know that this shop belongs to Ye Changqing, he gets even more shocked. Then Ye Changqing stands up and says that yes, this is my shop, and he says, I'm the owner of this general store. Is there anything weird inside? And Changming tries to stop Ye Changqing and tells him that there is something very dangerous inside. But when Ye Changqing goes inside his shop, he starts looking here and there and says, Let me have a look, let me have a look. And when Ye Changqing looks ahead, he gets a shock because there are many dead pigs lying inside, seeing whom Ye Changqing thinks, Why are there so many wild boar? Oh, I get it. Lady Yan, please help me put these ingredients in the kitchen first. Young master, I think you've misunderstood. And Changming is shocked, but he says, Misunderstood? What did I misunderstand? Ye Changqing says, Although my shop does occasionally take in mountain products as an exchange, but we never take in wild boar. And Changming thinks, what does he mean? Never take in a wild boar? Is he asking me to help him clean up the demon corpses in this house? And then the Black Emperor comes running to Ye Changqing and tries to lick him. But when Changming sees the Black Emperor, he gets very scared and moves back. And he is very scared. Then Ye Changqing tells Changming, This is my pet, although it's a bit dumb, please don't take offense. But the Black Emperor stares at Changming and a dangerous demonic aura starts coming out of the Black Emperor. And sensing this, Changming gets breathless, and he thinks, He's able to handle a demon king-level beast as his pet? Could he be? Changming takes a deep breath and bows before Ye Changqing and says to him, Ye Changqing, disciple from Tai Xian Holy Land here to meet Senior for guidance today. Ye Changqing is surprised to see Changming's action, and he thinks, another disciple from Tai Xian Holy Land again? Nothing good ever comes from calling me a senior. The lady from last time only gave me 3 copper coins for a painting, and now this guy can't even be bothered to pay, and he's trying to trade with wild boars instead? Are all cultivators that stingy? But these wild boars are quite stout. If I sell them to Butcher Zhang, each one would be worth at least 7 or 8 taels. And Changming thinks, why isn't the ancestor saying anything? Could it be because I trespassed on his private property, and he's now thinking about how to deal with me? Oh no! I must have angered Senior. But Ye Changqing's attention is on the wild boar, and he is thinking, each one is worth 8 taels, 4 times 8 is 27, if I round up it should be at least 30 taels. That's a huge profit. Then Ye Changqing puts his hand on Changming's shoulder and tells him to get up. This is not necessary, please get up quickly. And Ye Changqing smilingly thinks, it seems like some cultivators are still reasonable. And he says, are you here for calligraphy and paintings as well? And Changming gets confused and he thinks, calligraphy and paintings? Could it be the holy relics that Sister Wushuang showed it to the master? And Changming cryingly holds Ye Changqing's hand and says to him, you're right, Junior came here for it. So Ye Changqing smilingly shows him the way and says, this way please. And Ye Changqing thinks, since he gave me so many wild boars, I'll put in a bit more effort. And Changming thinks he is surprisingly easy to talk to. As expected, he's already figured out my Tai Xian Holy Land once in a millennium encounter supreme dual attributes dual spiritual roots, for 30 consecutive years re-elected as Tai Xian Holy Land's most handsome holy son. Running and jumping under the sunset of Tai Xian Holy Land. That is my unregretted youth. Then Ye Changqing wakes up Changming from his thoughts and asks him, young masterly, are there any writings you like? Smooth sailing? God rewards the diligent? Harmony in the family will bring prosperity? And Ye Changqing thinks, what is this young man spacing out for? And the Black Emperor looks at Changming and he thinks, I was worried he'd see my true form. But who would have thought that he's not very smart? Don't be rude in front of the master. Hurry up and snap out of it. And the Black Emperor bites Changming's hand. Then Ye Changqing looks back and asks Changming, what's the matter? And the Black Emperor lets go of Changming's hand, and Changming, smiling, says to Ye Changqing, nothing, feel free to let your creativity run free, I look forward to it. And Ye Changqing takes out a brush and gets ready to do calligraphy. Then he says to Changming, alright, please tolerate my skill. And just then Yanbingxin comes there and she says, Senior, I've finished arranging the things. Yanbingxin sees that Ye Changqing is about to do calligraphy with a brush. She gets surprised, and she thinks Senior is about to do some calligraphy. And she starts running towards Ye Changqing and she says, Senior, I'll help you grind the ink. And Ye Changqing says, then I'll leave it to you, Lady Yan. And Yanbingxin pushes Changming aside, and she starts grinding the ink, and she thinks, when I was looking at Senior Ye's chess game, I was completely absorbed. I wonder what true essence and principles I might discover in calligraphy. And Ye Changqing picks up the brush to do calligraphy and he says, the brush was only 0.01 m away from my paper back then. But after a quarter of an incense stick, people who see this calligraphy piece will fall in love with me. And both are surprised to see Ye Changqing's talent, and Yanbingxin thinks, Mr. Yi is completely immersed in it, and Changming thinks, this may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. And they both are looking at Ye Changqing's calligraphy very carefully. And Changming gets stunned. Then they both find themselves inside the calligraphy and both look at even the minutest things carefully. Ye Changqing has put complete life into this calligraphy, and seeing this Yanbingxin says, when Senior Yi is writing swiftly, the majesty of his calligraphy makes you feel like you're actually there. And Changming feels something and says, I felt it. As Senior Yi wrote, I can feel the true essence and clarity flowing from his brush and ink. Wait, this is his sword intent. Then Ye Changqing puts the brush down and says, I think I did well. And his attention goes towards Ye Changqing and Changming, who are not in their senses. And seeing them, Ye Changqing says, "What's the matter with you guys again?" And Ye Changqing brings both of them to their senses and he says, "Young Masterly, you've had at least 2 or 3 seizures today. If you're unwell, you should seek treatment as soon as possible." So Changming says, "Senior, your realm is extraordinary, I've gained a lot from you." And Ye Changqing says, "It's just an insignificant skill, nothing to brag about." But Ye Changqing is laughing inside and he says, "Ha ha ha, finally someone who is a true connoisseur." Then he rolls the calligraphy and gives it to Changming and says, "Here you go, I'll give it to you as a gift." And Changming takes the calligraphy, saying thank you to Ye Changqing. Then he says, "Senior, please give this calligraphy piece a title." And Ye Changqing says, after thinking for a while, "It was initially created to express my gratitude for your generous gift. Let's just call it Holy Xie." Changming is surprised by the name given by Ye Changqing, and he thinks, Ho represents great virtue, carries all, Li represents courtesy, demands reciprocity, as expected from Senior, who is an ascended great master, to be able to express such profound words. But I followed in Holy Lord's footsteps and practiced the path of immortality. But this calligraphy piece embodies the cultivation of supreme sword intent. Could it be that the ancestor is hinting at me that previous cultivation was wrong? No wonder my cultivation has been stagnant for years. Could it really be that my goals should be sword intent instead? And Ye Changqing says, "I can't help you with the rest. Bring it back and figure it out yourself." And Changming thinks, is he hinting at me that I should recognize my true intention and think of a way out? And after listening to Ye Changqing, Changming starts leaving from there, but there are tears in his eyes. And Ye Changqing and Ye Changqing along with the Black Emperor drop him off at the door to say goodbye to him. And while leaving, Changming says, "But giving up on cultivating the path of immortality would mean renouncing my position as the Holy Son. I'm sorry, Senior, I need to think about it." And Changming goes away. Then Ye Changqing says, "What is he talking about? I was just asking him to frame the calligraphy piece himself." After some time, Changming reaches the sect very fast. And he comes to meet Holy Lord, calling out to him. And Holy Lord is surprised to see Changming in such a hurry. Then Changming kneels down in front of Holy Lord and says while crying, "Master, disciple is unfilial." And as soon as Holy Lord hears this, water starts vomiting from his mouth. And Changming while crying says to Holy Lord, "You knew from the beginning that the disciple was unfit to succeed as the Holy Son, right?" And Holy Lord thinks, sigh, Changming has been trained to become the Holy Son since he was young. Deep down, he must feel tormented that a saintess has been appointed out of nowhere. Then Holy Lord makes Changming stand up and says to him, "Changming, please don't take it too hard. At this point, there's no reason for me to keep the truth from you." But Changming says, "No, Master. I did not mean it like that." And the Holy Lord says, "The ancestor who is currently living in seclusion in Shaoqi town thinks highly of Wushuang, and is willing to offer guidance on her cultivation at any time. The Master's cultivation is both enigmatic and terrifying. He might already be watching Tai Xian Holy Land. This is why I was forced to make the decision." But Changming says, "Listen to me." And the Holy Lord turns back and looks at Changming, and he puts his hand on Changming's shoulder and says to him, "I hope you understand Master's intentions." And Changming says, "Master, I understand, but please listen to what I have to say first." So the Holy Lord says, "Go ahead." And Changming smilingly says to the Holy Lord with a sparkle in his eyes, "Actually, I went and met the Senior today." And as soon as Changming says this, there is silence, and the Holy Lord slaps Changming hard, and after getting slapped, Changming feels pain and he holds his cheek. But he says, "Master, why did you hit me?" So the Holy Lord says, "It's obvious that since Ancestor chose to live in seclusion, he does not wish to be disturbed. You don't understand the seriousness of the situation, yet you still went there. If you provoked him, it could bring disaster to our whole sect." And Changming says, "But the Senior wasn't mad at me, he still gifted me a calligraphy piece." And as soon as the Holy Lord hears this, he gets shocked, and he says to Changming, "What? Show it to me quickly." And Changming gives the calligraphy to the Holy Lord and says, "Master, the Senior gave me a hint through this calligraphy piece. It seems like I've chosen the wrong cultivation path." And the Holy Lord looks at the calligraphy carefully from the left and right sides, and he thinks, what an ordinary-looking scroll, Wushwang was so much nicer. It's too obvious that the ancestor was being perfunctory with it, yet Changming, this foolish boy, still believed him, and the Holy Lord says, Changming, remember I chose you as the Holy Son. You can only and are only suited to follow Master and cultivate the supreme mysteries of our sect, the path of immortality. But Changming wants to say something else. But the Holy Lord tells him not to say anything. And he further says, the painting the ancestor gave to Wushwang was framed beautifully. Inside it consisted of the sword intent cultivation that Wushwang practices. And yours is just a piece of rice paper, although it's what the ancestor thought. And as soon as Holy Lord opens the calligraphy, a very strong energy comes out from inside it which Holy Lord cannot bear, and he finds himself inside the calligraphy. And when he carefully looks at this beautiful place and sees every detail of it, tears start falling from his eyes, and he thinks, as expected of a supreme person, he managed to infuse the true essence of sword intent into the verse of nature, vividly splashing it on the paper and transmitting it to Changming. Although I have seen Wushwang's piece, which is also very profound, it simply cannot compare to the piece that the senior gifted to Changming. Could it be, is Changming really more suited for practicing sword cultivation? Then Holy Lord is lost in his own thoughts, and Changming wakes him up from his thoughts. And Changming asks Holy Lord, Master? What's the matter? And Holy Lord holds Changming's hand, and Holy Lord's eyes become moist, and he says to Changming, you were right. The senior was hinting that your skill in sword cultivation surpasses that of Wushwang. And Changming says, so you mean? Holy Lord says, since we are both the Holy Lord and Holy Son of Tai Shua Holy Land, we certainly cannot disobey the senior's words. From today onwards, you will follow the proverb. Odd changes even remain, the symbol depends on the quadrant. As the essence of your sword heart, change your path of cultivation to sword. And as soon as Changming hears this, his eyes start shining and he becomes happy. Then Holy Lord says, you may go now. And Changming says, yes, Master. And Changming starts leaving here rapidly, and he stands up with the sword in his hand and goes away, and Holy Lord says, don't forget the high expectations the senior had for you. Changming says, I understand. After some time all three pick masters come to meet Holy Lord. And one pick master says, you called us here in a hurry, what's the matter? And we see Holy Lord with tears in his eyes, and he says, my only disciple. The sole heir of the path of immortality in Tai Xian Holy Land. And the pick master says, brother, what do you think happened? And the other pick master says, I don't know. And Yuanjian says, maybe he went off the deep end after practicing kung fu last night? Then Holy Lord stands up and walks towards them, and he says, all right, quiet down. I have two matters that I need to discuss with you all. Firstly, 2 days ago, I've mentioned that I intend to appoint Wushwang as the saintess of Tai Xian Holy Land. However, that doesn't mean that I am going to remove the Holy Son position. By appointing a saintess, I hope to become closer to the senior in Shaoxi Town. Secondly, a month from now, the once-a-decade martial arts event between Tai Xian and Ye Changqing Holy Land will kick off. The young talents from Ye Changqing Holy Land will follow Ye Changqing Holy Lord, Su Zhitian, to Tai Xian Mountain for the contest. During this period of time, please urge your disciples to practice cultivation diligently, and don't be lazy. And hearing this, the pick master gets surprised and he says, Holy Lord brother, during the previous martial arts event, disciples from both sides had a few victories and failures. But the chess competition between you and Su Zhitian, you've never won once. And Yuanjian says, that's right brother, maybe you should be the one that has to practice diligently? Ha! Every time you lose, you have to give away a spiritual treasure that is mid-grade or higher and a millennium-old medicinal herb. What kind of family background can afford to lose every time? Or you should just not attend this year's event, we'll just say you're training in seclusion. And after listening to those three things, Holy Lord gets very angry. And he says in an angry voice, what are you talking about? Do you think I'm worried about losing spiritual treasure and medicinal herbs? I just think that within Su Zhitian's for dragon spitting water, it reveals countless changes. It truly is a rare sight, so I hope to observe a few more times. You guys aren't chess enthusiasts, you all just don't get it. But Holy Lord is a little nervous inside and he thinks, I can't solve it. I just can't. And Yuanjian says, brother, maybe the senior in Shaoqi town might have a way to resolve the deadlock. And Holy Lord says, do you really mean it? Yuanjian says, think about it, that senior is a master of artistry, he's likely alive for hundreds of thousands of years. His knowledge must be beyond anything we could imagine. The chess game that seems beyond comprehensible to you might be mere child's play in the senior's eyes. Then Holy Lord gets a dangerous idea and he says, excellent. Then he says, cough. Brother Yuanjian has a point. When you reach the senior's level, you tend to focus more on internal growth, making chess the perfect way to do it. At the same time, Holy Lord's eyes shine and he thinks, I can take this chance to visit this senior and ask him for a few pointers. Then the scene shifts. And we see Lu Wushuang, and she is practicing. And she practices using the sword well. After a while, her practice ends. Then she becomes quiet. And then someone claps for Lu Wushuang and Lu Wushuang's attention goes there. And Lu Wushuang sees that the Holy Lord has come to meet her, and he says, not bad, not bad. I'm impressed that your stage 7 in the Golden Sword Sutra is already this skilled. And Lu Wushuang says, greetings, Holy Lord. You flatter me. It was all thanks to Senior Ye's guidance that I gained new insights on sword cultivation. Holy Lord says, Wushuang, after discussing with the other elders, we've decided to hold an official saintess canonization ceremony after the martial arts event between Taixien and Xiqing Holy Land. And Lu Wushuang says, I will follow Holy Lord's arrangement. Then Holy Lord turns back. Due to which Lu Wushuang gets a bit surprised. Then Holy Lord says, oh, by the way, what do you think of the temperament of the ancestor residing in seclusion in Shaoqi town? So Lu Wushuang says, Senior Ye's cultivation is unfathomable, yet he still treats people with such kindness and humility, and he's also very easygoing. And hearing this, Holy Lord starts laughing and he says, yet he still treats people with such kindness and humility, and he's also very easygoing. Face palms with a wry smile, you're still too young to understand the master's motives. Lu Wushuang gets surprised and she says, favors me? Really? And Holy Lord says, I've prepared generous gifts to visit that senior in Shaoqi town. Just in case, I would like you to come along as an introducer. And Lu Wushuang says, yes, Holy Lord. Also Lu Wushuang blushes and she thinks, I can't believe I'll be able to see Senior Yi so soon. Holy Lord says, remember, do not call me Holy Lord in front of the senior, we don't want to disrupt the social order. Just say I'm an elder in your family. Lu Wushuang says, Wushuang understands. On the other hand, Ye Changqing is sitting in the courtyard and he is making calligraphy and Yan Bingxin is sweeping. And because of her sweeping, Ye Changqing is not able to breathe properly and also he is not able to concentrate properly on the calligraphy. And so he says to Yan Bingxin, Lady Yan, please take a break. But Yan Bingxin says, it's okay, Senior Yi. I'm not tired. But Ye Changqing catches the broom and takes it from her. And he insists Lu Wushuang take a break. And Ye Changqing thinks, I inhaled all the dust you swept up. And Yan Bingxin thinks, Mr. Yi is so kind to me. Then she turns back and says, then I'll go do some sewing and make lunch. And as soon as Ye Changqing hears this he gets shocked and he says, no, please just have a seat. And Yan Bingxin agrees to this. And Ye Changqing starts looking at Yan Bingxin and becomes very sad and he thinks, she really is useless. Can't do anything right except eat. But I can't afford to offend her. I can only be mad at her for a bit. When will she leave? She said she was only staying a few days. I don't have any extra food. After this we see the gate of Shaoqi town. And there are a lot of people at the gate. Then a girl says to someone, my lord, the royal talisman shows that the 9th princess is in this town. Then that man asks them all to go inside. And as soon as they go inside the town the girl feels something and she says, what just happened? The royal talisman stopped blinking? And the man gets a little surprised. Then he says, Shaoqi town is part of Taixien Holy Land's spiritual ground, they must have set up some kind of prohibition. I can feel the immense aura flowing all around here. And one boy turns back and he says, my lord, something isn't right. I remembered that the aura in Shaoqi town had been declining for hundreds of years. Why didn't it dry up? Instead, it became stronger. And the man says, I'm not sure either, but I don't have time to worry about that now. Ninth princess has been missing for almost half a month. Right now our top priority is finding her, or else, our heads will roll. Then the man starts using his power, and creates some kind of energy. Then he starts spreading his energy, and he discovers something, and they start following that thing, and the man says, follow this aura. We might be able to discover something. The aura takes them to Ye Changqing's shop and they stop. And the man says, this is the source of the town's aura. Let's head in and take a closer look. And then the man feels something and someone attacks him. But the man dodges the attack and retreats. Then we see the Holy Lord in front of him, and he says to him, if I'm not mistaken, Your Excellency must be Lu Changhe, Lord of the Lu estate from Qishur House of the great Yan royal family. And Lu Changhe greets the Holy Lord and says to him, greetings, yes. I didn't expect to meet Taishuan's Holy Lord in a place like this. And the Holy Lord says, Your Excellency, you entered the realm of my Taishan Holy Land. Have you forgotten our agreement to not interfere with each other's affairs? So Lu Changhe gets nervous and he says, we didn't mean to violate it on purpose. We're searching for the missing ninth princess. That's why we had no choice but to come here. But Holy Lord gets angry and says in an angry voice, that is absurd. Why would your ninth princess be here? And then someone takes Lu Changhe's name, and we see that it is Yan Bingxin, and they are surprised to see Yan Bingxin holding a broom. Yan Bingxin gets happy but she asks, why are you here? And as soon as they both see Yan Bingxin they get a big shock. And Lu Changhe says, Your Highness? Why are you dressed like that? And Holy Lord says, Ninth Princess? Are you sure she's not just a cleaning servant? And Lu Changhe shouts, who was it, who dares to imprison the princess here and force her to do such menial work? I'll let him have a taste of the power of my Qishur house. Holy Lord thinks, could it be the senior residing in seclusion here? Lu Wushuang thinks, a noble princess dressed as a cleaning servant? Does Senior Yi have some sort of weird fetish? And Lu Changhe holds Yan Bingxin's hand and starts taking her with him, and he says, Ninth Princess. This is the realm of Taishan Holy Land. Let's get out of here first. I'll later send someone else to capture the thief. I'll definitely cut him into 1,000,000 pieces. Holy Lord gets angry and thinks, he dares to disrespect my sect's ancestor? If it weren't for the king of Great Yan, I'd teach you all a lesson. But then Yan Bingxin shakes off her hand and frees herself from Lu Changhe's grip. And seeing this, Lu Changhe gets surprised, and then Yan Bingxin slaps Lu Changhe hard and asks him to shut up. Seeing this, Lu Changhe, Holy Lord and Lu Wushuang all get shocked. Then Yan Bingxin again grabs the broom, and she shouts, how dare you speak so arrogantly? Are you trying to sever the Great Yan's national destiny which we've upheld for 10,000 years? And Lu Changhe says, Your Highness, Great Yan's national destiny is under the king's and ancestors' protection. Your cultivation is still too weak. You must have been deceived by some random cultivator. Holy Lord says, random cultivator? Lord Lu, how bold of you! Do you know who resides in this small shop? And hearing this Lu Changhe gets angry and he says, is it the founder of your sect? Then we see the scene inside the shop and Black Emperor is resting on the floor. But he can hear the sound outside due to which he is not able to sleep properly. Then he wakes up and stretches. Then he looks outside and he thinks, who is it? So early in the morning? And as soon as Black Emperor steps out of the shop, Holy Lord and Lu Changhe feel a dangerous aura. And as soon as Black Emperor comes out, his original form is reflected behind him. And Black Emperor says in an angry voice, who's yelling outside the door, disturbing my sweet dream? And as soon as Lu Changhe sees Black Emperor, he gets a big shock. And he calls the Black Emperor the Demon King, and he further says, how could a Demon King appear in a place like this? And the Holy Lord panics and says, Lord Lu, I'll stop arguing with you for now. Let's deal with this Demon King first. And Lu Changhe says, all right. We can't let this Demon King harm the citizens of this town. The Black Emperor looks at both of them with angry eyes, and starts spreading his dangerous aura and says, these two old men want to fight me? I'll show you both how powerful I am. and the Black Emperor starts moving towards them, due to which both of them start getting panicked, and together they get ready to attack the Black Emperor. But then a strong punch falls on the Black Emperor's head, and the one who hits him is Ye Changqing. And Ye Changqing says to the Black Emperor, "Black Emperor, are you looking for a beating again? Dogs that simply bite people have to undergo the harmless treatment." And a big potato grows on Black Emperor's head, and he has tears in his eyes. And both of them get more shocked when they see that Ye Changqing has kept a demon king as his pet, and they both think, he dares to reprimand the demon king? Who is this young man? I don't sense any traces of cultivation on him. I don't even know when he arrived. Then Ye Changqing says, "My apologies, I'm the owner of this shop. I hope my pet didn't frighten you all." But Black Emperor is still angry, and they get even more shocked as soon as they both hear that Demon King is Ye Changqing's pet. But Lu Wuxuan gets happy. Then she comes in front of Ye Changqing and greets him and says to him, "Greetings, Senior Yi." And Ye Changqing says, "Oh, it's you. I haven't seen you for a few days. What brings you here today?" And Lu Wuxuan introduces the Holy Lord and tells Ye Changqing, "Senior, this is an elderly from my family. He saw the painting I previously bought from you and greatly admired it, so we decided to visit today." Then Holy Lord also greets Ye Changqing and he says, "He Changxian greets Senior Yi." And Ye Changqing says, "Sir, please rise." And Ye Changqing thinks, if he's the lady's elder, he must be a cultivator too. Even though I don't possess any spiritual roots, but with my exceptional artistic skill, I can still bear the title of Senior from a divine elder like him, ha ha. Then Ye Changqing sees a man next to Yan Bingxin and he asks Yan Bingxin, Lady Yan, who is this?" Lu Changhe gets ready to tell about himself, but Yan Bingxin hugs him, due to which he can't say anything. And Yan Bingxin tells about him, "Old Shin. He's Old Shin. He's the person in charge at our home. He purposely came here to look for me." And Ye Changqing, hearing this, quickly goes close to Lu Changhe and holds his hand, which confuses Lu Changhe. And Ye Changqing says to Lu Changhe in a hopeful voice, "This is great. You finally came. You're here to bring the lady back, right?" And Lu Changhe says yes. Which makes Ye Changqing happy and he laughs and says, "Ha ha. Welcome, welcome." Then he says to everyone, "Everyone, come in and have some tea." And hearing this, Holy Lord becomes very happy, and he thanks Ye Changqing. Also he thinks, "My opportunity has come." And all of them come to Ye Changqing's courtyard. And as soon as Holy Lord and Lu Changhe take another step forward, both of them feel a dangerous power, due to which both of them fall at this place. And seeing this, Ye Changqing gets confused and says, "What are you guys doing?" And both of them start bleeding from their nose. And Holy Lord starts laughing and Lu Changhe replies, "We're old, it's hard to walk steadily." And they all start looking at the beauty of Ye Changqing's courtyard. And Holy Lord and Lu Changhe are very surprised, and they see the Black Emperor. Then they see an ancient enchanted tree, and they say, "Even the tables and stools are lined with aura. We've arrived at an incredible place." And Ye Changqing tells all of them, "Have a seat, I'll go prepare some tea." And all four of them sit at one place but are very quiet. It seems as if the whole courtyard is engulfed in silence. But breaking the silence, Lu Changhe says, "Changxian Holy Lord, about this young senior, what do you think?" And Holy Lord says, "I knew that this senior was extraordinary, but I never imagined it would be this terrifying." Lu Changhe says, "Exactly. This type of enchanted tree can only be found at an ancient land of opportunity, and yet it's just casually planted in this backyard, just sitting under this tree. I feel so oppressed, it's hard to breathe." Holy Lord says, "Hang in there. This must be a test from the senior." And then Holy Lord's attention goes towards something. And we see that his attention goes towards chess, due to which he is unable to stop himself, and he stands up. And he starts walking towards the chessboard with straight feet, and laughingly he says, "Ha ha ha. It's just as I thought. Senior Yi is into chess as well." And then Yan Bingxin tries to warn the Holy Lord. But as soon as Holy Lord looks at the chessboard, a very strong golden color energy starts coming out of the chessboard, seeing which Holy Lord gets shocked, and he says, "This chess game is trying to teach me something." There are no constant conditions during warfare, just as water retains no constant shape. There are short days and long days, the moon has its periods of waxing and waning. I understand now. And tears start falling from the eyes of Holy Lord.